Y'all, welcome as we continue through the Psalms together. Today we're going to be reading Psalm 55. This is another psalm of lament. It is based on the betrayal of one of David's closest friends. David was a man with keen discernment, and in this psalm he shows us four possible approaches in regards to how to handle the painful problems and battles of life. We can look within at our feelings and emotions. We can look beyond to the Lord for refuge. We can look around at our circumstances, and we can look up to God and trust His faithfulness. We can trust Him. We'll go ahead and start in verse 1 of Psalm 55 together. Listen to my prayer, O God. Do not ignore my cry for help. Please listen and answer me, for I am overwhelmed by my troubles. My enemies shout at me, making loud and wicked threats. They bring trouble on me and angrily hunt me down. My heart pounds in my chest. The terror of death assaults me. Fear and trembling overwhelm me, and I can't stop shaking. Oh, that I had wings like a dove! Then I would fly away and rest. I would fly far away to the quiet of the wilderness. How quickly I would escape, far from this wild storm of hatred. David petitions the Lord in a prayer of distress. He calls for God to hear him and answer him. He begged the Lord not to ignore his plea for help. He honestly poured out every emotion he is feeling regarding those who were once friends and had now become his enemies. He didn't hide his emotions. He feels them and directs them to the Lord. His greatest shock is that the enemy in this current season of life is his very own friend. The weight of betrayal caused David to be unable to sleep, and his heart trembled in terror. He was overwhelmed by what he saw in the city, and he realized that his own life was in danger. David's concern was for the safety of the people and the future of the Lord's promises for the nation and his dynasty. He felt like everything was falling apart and there was no hope. It's natural to look at our feelings, feel our feelings, and express our fears, but we aren't meant to stop there. Our feelings and fears need to be directed and shepherded straight to the Lord. He is the one who turns fears to increased faith. He is the one who ignites our hope. He is the one who comforts our hearts. He is the one who gives us the strength we need to continue forward. David looked in horror at the betrayal of his friend, and he wanted to fly away to safety. I'm pretty confident we have all felt desperate, and we've all wanted to just fly away from whatever it is that is causing our misery at some point in life, especially in the extremely difficult and painful seasons. Our human response to life's struggle is, how can I get out of this? We can all relate to the desire to just want to get away from it all. However, David shows us what to truly do. Instead of running, we need to turn to the Lord and pour out our hearts openly and honestly before Him. We need to ask the right question. What can I get out of this? What is the Lord showing me? What is the Lord teaching me? What is the Lord increasing in me through this? The human heart naturally wants a safe and peaceful refuge, far from the problems and burdens of life. The faithful heart trusts the Lord and looks to Him for everything needed to face the problems and burdens in life. We don't need wings like doves so we can fly away from the storm. We need wings like eagles so we can fly above the storm, basking in the Lord's presence. Only the Lord can supply wings like an eagle and faith that soars, even through the roughest winds that come. We'll go ahead and continue in verse 9. Confuse them, Lord, and frustrate their plans, for I see violence and conflict in the city. Its walls are patrolled day and night against invaders, but the real danger is wickedness within the city. Everything is falling apart. Threats and cheating are rampant in the streets. It is not an enemy who taunts me. I could bear that. It is not my foes who so arrogantly insult me. I could have hidden from them. Instead, it is you, my equal, my companion and close friend. What good fellowship we once enjoyed as we walked together to the house of God. Let death stalk my enemies. Let the grave swallow them alive, for evil makes its home within them. David had petitioned the Lord and poured out his problems that he was facing in this season. And in these verses, David continues detailing the problems, and he seeks the Lord in a prayer of justice. He didn't live in denial or ignore his problems. He described the situation he was facing, all the violence, division, crime, troubles, destruction, oppression, and deceit within the city. On top of it all, his very dear friend had betrayed him and turned into the enemy, which made everything all the more unbearable. They had once worshipped the Lord together, but he had now turned to the enemy instead. And we'll continue in verse 16. But I will call on God, and the Lord will rescue me. Morning, noon, and night I cry out in my distress, and the Lord hears my cries. He ransoms me and keeps me safe from the battles waged against me, though many still oppose me. God, who has ruled forever, will hear me and humble them. For my enemies refuse to change their ways. They do not fear God. As for my companion, he betrayed his friends. He broke his promises. His words are as smooth as butter, but in his heart is war. His words are as soothing as lotion, but underneath are daggers. Give your burdens to the Lord, and he will take care of you. He will not permit the godly to slip and fall. But you, O God, will send the wicked down to the pit of destruction. Murderers and liars will die young, but I am trusting you to save me. While it's normal for us to hope for a quick way of escape and important for us to understand our emotions and circumstances, it is far more important to look up to God and ask for his help. David shepherds his heart to the Lord and determines that no matter what, he will call on and trust in God. David asked the Lord for justice against those who had come against him. David was God's anointed king, and the Lord protected him, comforted him, strengthened him, and directed his heart and his steps. David prayed all day long with assurance, knowing God is with him. He called to the Lord to save him. He knew with assurance that God heard his complaints and his cries for intervention. He knew the Lord would hear him and rescue him because he is enthroned in heaven and he is in complete control. David's throne was in danger, but God's throne is always secure. Life has tons of changes and challenges, but God never changes. Despite all that he was facing, David knew that God would redeem him. David knew that he could give every burden and every heartache to the Lord, and the Lord would sustain him. God would take care of the enemies, and David would trust in the Lord no matter what the outcome might be. When David experienced life's happy moments, he knew they came from the Lord. When David experienced times of trouble, sorrow, and pain, he knew the Lord was still in control and would carry him through. He closed the Psalm of Prayer by praising the Lord and affirming his faith in the Lord. David foreshadows Jesus. David was betrayed by his son Absalom and his counselor and friend Ahithophel in 2 Samuel 15. Jesus was betrayed by his disciple Judas in Luke 22:47. David and Jesus both crossed the Kidron Valley, David in 2 Samuel 15:23 and Jesus in John 18:1. David climbed down the Mount of Olives weeping in 2 Samuel 13:30, and Jesus wept on the Mount of Olives in Luke 22 verses 39 through 44. David was rejected by his own people in 2 Samuel 15, and Jesus was rejected by his own as well, and today he is enthroned in heaven. One day he will return to Jerusalem and establish his earthly kingdom, just as Zechariah 14:4 promises us. God is for us, the God of the cosmos, the almighty creator of heaven and earth. He is for us. The Father God who sent his son Jesus to earth to die for the sins of the world. He is for you. He is for me. He loves us beyond comprehension. He holds our life in his hands. We have nothing to fear. We can run to Jesus and trust him. He is for us. God is our friend, our protector, and our deliverer. He is always with us, and he will never leave us or forsake us. He is for us. We need to hang on with the living hope of Jesus, knowing that God is for us. We need to repeat that truth until it is embedded deep within our very soul and walk in that very promise. God's grip on us is greater than our grip on him 1,000,000 times over, and he will absolutely never ever let us go. We need to turn to him. We need to continue to cling to Jesus with all of our guts. We need to remain desperate for Jesus every moment of every day. Thanks, y'all. I hope you're having a glorious day in the Lord.